Incoming transmission. Upgrade complete. Welcome back, Commander.
Okay, hi guys, and welcome to a different kind of show. We're outside this time.
Yay!
And would you like to tell the audience why we've come to this special place again?
We're celebrating an anniversary.
Celebrate.
Actually, it really is.
It
You're
is.
right? So there's 2 anniversaries going on.
Yeah.
So we've met here for the first time 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Maybe not to the
crazy.
date, but
Yeah.
9 years ago on the grass somewhere
On
over
the
there.
grassy knoll.
Yeah, somewhere over there, right?
Yeah, over
I
there.
think it
yeah.
was, right?
Yeah.
But really, we're here for the 3rd anniversary. Is it 3rd anniversary? It could be the 2nd anniversary, even though it's a 3rd Rangemaster.
It's a 3rd Rangemaster,
Yeah.
but technically this is the number 2.
And for the occasion, I wore number 1.
Nice.
Okay. I wore number mechanical, which is not
Nice.
number 2.
Not number 2.
And you have blessed us with.
This is the Rangemaster II. The whole point of the naming was because, well, the first one was very much inspired by the Rolex Explorer, a bit of Tudor Ranger.
Yes.
I was watching Starship Troopers and I had this idea of what would it be like if they wore one of my favorite Rolexes, but it was more futuristic. A lot of the designs of these watches are always vintage inspired, but
Right.
slightly modernized. What if it was really modernized? So
That's this one.
that's that one.
And then we moved to mechanical land,
Yeah.
which was
Kinda
this one.
Hamilton Khaki territory.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
we actually went more affordable, didn't we?
This one was actually less expensive than this one. And then we said,
yeah. Then we was like, yeah, okay, let's do something completely crazy.
Yeah.
Originally, we did want to do a GMT.
we wanted to do a GMT. I would say when we did this one, we wanted to do a GMT.
Right.
But the movement simply, there goes a runner.
So be
New
it.
York.
So be it. It's New York. It's fine.
But so while the Miyota 9075, I know you wanted the 9075, you didn't want to settle for the
Yeah.
NA34. So it was available, but
GMT.
not really outside of the citizen group that much.
Right.
So we had to wait. But then while this one was coming out, the 9075 was becoming more and more prevalent, and we knew then that for
Yeah.
2024, we will be able to have it. And that is when you start putting pencil to paper.
To paper, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did an initial design. I sent it to Mark. Your team, you really ran with it, which
Yeah.
I was so impressed. There was like 20 different versions, color coordinate, because we've got 2, right? We've got black dial,
Black and white.
dial.
Yep.
Really great idea. You even loomed it, which I don't think I even thought of
The
that.
bezel? Yeah.
Yeah, which
You
is
gotta.
fantastic.
Yeah.
This more abstract shape, and those of you who follow our monthly Watch Talk segment, you might remember that Mark is a fan of Short Circuit.
Yeah, even the first and the second. Yeah, I'll even do
Even the
both.
second one?
Even the second, yeah. But
yeah.
first one better,
Yeah, the first one was better. So
sure.
Why try to disassemble Johnny Five? Bad humans! Please allow me to demonstrate the law of centrifugal force.
is it Johnny 5? It is Johnny 5.
Johnny 5, the robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny 5, because
Johnny.
he was number 5.
Right.
They were made 5, I think, they make like 5 robots, and he was the last one.
Right.
And he got electrical storm, I think, power surge.
That's
And
right,
he's almost
yeah.
like Frankenstein, or
Right.
Frankenstein's monster, and he becomes alive.
Right,
I haven't
right.
seen it in a long time, so
I
I
gotta-
can still do the lines, but I don't remember the plot exactly.
The designer of Johnny 5 is a guy called Sid Mead. He's more famous for Blade Runner, Star Trek Motion Picture. He did that Elysium, which is a little bit more recently. A lot of like sci-fi stuff. And I have a book, and I'll put it in my Amazon book. Amazon store. Sorry, I highly recommend it. As soon as I saw these angular shapes, I was like, okay, well then that's where we
That's
got to
next
go.
one, right.
Yeah. You managed to skeletonize it, which I'm really impressed by because that was difficult.
It came out really awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see right through it. You see your hand when it's sitting down. It's just, man, I would say without the skeletonization, it's a totally different watch.
Yes.
It adds such an element to it. Not only obviously for the weight, but it just adds a certain, I don't know,
'Cause it is
wearability and
hefty.
different. Yeah.
It is
It
hefty.
is. It's, I want to say,
Yeah.
it is pretty heavy. It's like
There's a
Seiko
lot-
Monsterish weight or Seiko Samurai-ish weight.
yeah. And it seems big. It is a bigger watch because that's funny. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, you should make it bigger."
Yeah.
Well, here you go.
But it's big, but as I said before, you were wearing it, and I spotted you wearing it, and I was like, wow, your wrist is smaller than mine. I was like,
Right.
it looks great on you. It really did. And it
Yeah.
fits you nice. It curves nicely on your wrist.
And I think that's down to the way we did the lugs, which we should rarely talk about
Yeah.
because this was where Mark's engineering genius absolutely shone. The initial design had these. What did I do? It was like rivets or something like
yeah,
that.
kind of like that. And you wanted these features on the top.
Right.
And they turned into screws.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we'll machine in some screw heads. And you said, no, I don't want that. If they're screw heads, they're screws.
They got to do something, right?
I said, okay. So the bracelet actually, so it looks integrated.
Right.
And it is, but it's removable and replaceable. So, because it comes with a rubber strap as well, the end of the bracelet has a tongue, and the tongue slides into the case. The screws with their threads are 6-axis CNC machined.
What is better than one spring bar?
Yeah, more.
Yeah, more.
4 screws.
Four screws.
But the screws actually go through the tongue, secure it. The bottom of the case is threaded. It's a hex screw. We include the screwdriver to
Extra screws.
remove and replace the bracelet. We include a screwdriver to size the bracelet. As I said, there's an extra rubber strap with a deploying buckle. And then you're thinking, they only let me use their bracelet and the rubber strap. That's not what I'm about. I'm about people expressing, doing whatever the hell they want. So we made a set of adapters. And the adapters, again, go into the case just like the tongue, and then you have standard 20 millimeter hooded lugs that you could put on a nylon or rubber strap.
For the really large wristed, we'll probably wear even bigger.
Yeah, for sure. Because it
you've
sticks out a bit.
It sticks out a bit.
Yeah.
So I think we've managed somehow to create a watch for all wrists.
Yeah,
that
hopefully.
that is still huge. That's still very much on trend.
Yes.
Because it is Genta-esque.
Yes.
And I think the market is, I've done a whole video about this, about how styles are changing. Instead of vintage styles driving the market, we're seeing a kind of resurgence of what I've called retro-futurism, where it's like, it is a dated technology, but what if that dated technology existed in the future, which kind of does.
It's an anachronism, I guess,
Exactly.
almost.
Exactly. So I think it's in keeping with what's also coming, and I'm seeing a lot of what brands doing more of this kind of a little bit more edgy,
Right.
You know,
Definitely edgy.
Yeah.
Edgy on the terms of style, edgy on the terms of budget,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Definitely the most expensive
Yeah.
watch we've done out of the 3 of these. And then the packaging. The packaging
Oh, yeah.
was really edgy for sure, but the packaging itself is just a whole nother level. It's the full kit, the watch, the bracelet, the rubber strap, the adapters, the extra screws, the 2 tools, certificate of authenticity, which is the LE card, a manual. Oh, and also, we actually molded a silicon cover
oh yeah,
that you put over the
Over
watch.
the watch, yeah.
So when you go to change the bracelet, the screw heads just stick out. That way you're not going to scratch.
That was a
the
nice
watch.
touch.
Yeah.
That was your team really ran
Thought
with
of
this.
everything.
Yeah, they thought of everything.
Yeah.
The box. Oh my God. Oh, this took a week just to design, and Mark thought I was crazy because I was like,
He is.
we got we got to do something called razzle dazzle, right?
Yes.
Which sounds like a.
I think it is a candy.
It is a candy.
It is Razzlers or Razzle.
Something like
Yeah.
that. It's camouflage used by the British. They hired an abstract kind of modernist artist to paint these angular forms on ships to evade the German U-boats in World War I, in the infancy of torpedo technology. So they'd have to guess where the ship was going. So they use this weird forms from afar. It looks like you can't tell where the front of the ship is or the
Coming
back.
and going.
Yeah, coming and going. It really does work. I took that concept because of the angular forms of this, you know.
Sure.
It reflects the watch, but then I changed it to blue because of Mr. Blue over here. And the orange for the Rangemaster hand, the GMT hand. Again, a little nod to Rolex. If you're going to do something well, let's go all the way.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. If you're gonna do something, go crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So 500 pieces, right?
Oh, and you told me about the razzle dazzle still used.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you told me that, when you told me what the lines were all about on the box, I was like, this reminds me of the auto industry, which I'm sure a lot of auto heads will know.
Crazy.
That when the car companies, when they're testing new cars out on the street or on the track, they wrap them in this kind of, it's not camouflage, but it's all these like ISO lines.
Right.
So you can't tell where the curvature of the car starts, and so they can't guess the shape.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this is.
That's crazy. So they're still using this over 100 years later.
As a sort of like photography trickery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 500 pieces?
500 pieces.
So limited to 500, no, we're not gonna make more. I'm amazed at how many times with these two, people ask, are you making more?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's limited. We'll just make more. I can't.
Yeah.
We number each one.
And I think this might be the end. I think it should be a trilogy, but you guys will be, it's
Yeah, if you want
ultimately
another one, let us know.
Yeah. I think it's a nice trilogy. It's a complete set.
Yeah.
It makes sense. You think the white dial is going to sell more?
I think so. Black dial is traditional, and it always sells the best, but I really, really dig the white dial. The case is insane, whatever, the polishing, the brushing. There's a lot of labor that goes into that case, like a ton of labor.
Yeah, the finishing.
Yeah. It's really nice.
And I gotta say, Mark, out of all the, I've worked with several brands now, and Mark is one of the most fastidious, hardworking. When it comes to if I give him an idea and let's change it here, let's do this, it's like you're always available. You always, you really
You're the
push.
boss, man. That's the way. I think a lot of
you push to really get it.
Yeah, I want it right. I want it good. Or I want it done. I want it done right. I want it well. After all, a product with my name on it, so as well as yours.
Right.
And I want it to reflect well. And how about, speaking of name, Caseback?
The Caseback. So this is the debut of Gentry Labs. It's not a brand. The idea of this was I took inspiration from a towel designer. Again, car enthusiasts will know this. Giorgetto Giugiaro, the famous car designer. Sometimes he's revered as the most important of all time. I don't know if that title, anyway, that's a whole different discussion. But he started the towel design where he could put all his ideas under one roof and showcase what he was doing. So he was doing crazy stuff like phones and pasta and
Pasta.
Pasta, yeah, he did the pasta.
Like what kind of pasta? Like the box or the actual noodle?
No, he redesigned an actual pasta to hold more sugo then inside.
I love it. How Italian is that?
I know, how Italian is that, yeah. So from Ferraris to pasta to the Seikos.
That's a resume, man.
Yeah. He basically brought Seiko to a whole new level.
Sure.
I've discussed all of that, but I wanted like not an umbrella, but somewhere to showcase. Yeah, to capture, document. Because if you don't know the channel and you just subscribe now, you're not going to know that I've worked with this brand, with that brand, and I want to document it. And so you're going to see a lot more from Gentry Labs in the coming years. I've already designed watches for next year after that. But this is the first one to have it on the Caseback.
Yeah, on the box.
On the box. I'm very honored that it was with you because we have this history that, 10 years later or 9 years later, here we are again.
Yeah.
And what better way to do it than with a crazy watch.
Very crazy, right?
Watch,
Very crazy.
And I should mention the dial, really.
Yeah.
When we did the original, the GMT movement came out in 2022, I think it was.
The 1975?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really wanted the GMT, unfortunately.
Yeah, when this one came out, the GMT movement was just being unveiled.
Yeah. Yes, I remember. I remember reviewing it.
Because you did something with them, like you were like one of the first to review one of their watches with it.
Boulevard allowed me to review the first watch they did with it. I was quite harsh in my review. I thought they'd never talk to me.
You're never going to use that movement again, sir.
No, but they actually listened to me and they came out with other watches since and really, they listen. And anyway, that's how I did. Sorry. The dial is obviously inspired by the Rolex 1655, which came out before the Rolex 2, and I always wanted to do a GMT like that because I think it's so efficient the way it shows the hours.
Yeah.
In my opinion, was one of the greatest GMT dials ever done. It was 71 it came out. It was discontinued, big flop, and then of course typical Rolex fashion.
Yeah.
I can't afford one, so I thought, well,
I'll make my own.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks to Mark, we've brought it back to the 21st century.
Three-dimensionalize it.
Yeah. This is your team's doing because mine was a 2D rendering. 2D rendering, right? And then your guys were like, well, let's make it like the Colosseum,
Yeah, exactly. The numbers almost like on pedestals. They're raised. It's all molded. It just gives the appearance of, gives the dial a lot more depth, but it's not overly thick. The markers are raised. It looks like looks like the markers are almost touching the glass.
Yeah.
It's really flat sapphire, really nice.
It really looks like an amphitheater,
I
coliseum.
guess like seating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you can see it like in the angled shots, like when the photographer did the angled shots, I was like, wow, the depth really comes out.
Yeah. It doesn't feel that thick.
No. Doesn't feel big, doesn't wear big. I would say when you open the box, it just looks big.
And then to reduce the weight, we skeletonized the lugs.
That's awesome. Yeah, the lugs came out really nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it delayed us a bit because it's so involved in.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of machining.
Ton of machining, different finishing.
Polishing, finishing, getting that stuff right is just, it's a real bear.
Oh, and I should mention the bracelet. The bracelet was inspired by the Casio databank, DBC 611, I think it is, but I'll put it on screen. I showed it to you, the Casio,
right.
and you just took it and you were like, okay,
just
you
beef it
made
up
it.
and make it bigger, and yeah.
My money's on the black dial.
White.
His money. Let's see who wins.
Blue.
We should put some money on it.
Yeah, right.
You want to put some
$1,
money on it?
like trading places.
Okay, fine. Let's do that. There was a little problem with the screw down crown.
Yes.
Which delayed things. We
actually made it bigger, more, because it's a traveler's GMT, right? You want to be able to manipulate the crown really easily. You land, unscrew it, first click, down, and you're out.
Yeah.
It was a little hard to manipulate, so bigger, delayed us about a month or so.
About a month. That's still very impressive. And I love how you suggested to put 00 on the top.
Yeah. Yeah, is it like a triangle or 24?
Yeah.
I guess I hear a lot, from the user. No such thing as 2,400 hours. It never happens.
Yeah.
It's zero.
When you told me that, I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right.
So I said, okay, let's just go 00.
Yeah, 00. Yeah. We were debating date, no date, and then you also suggested we've got to have a date because
Traveler's GMT, you had to go through the date line, the other side of the date line, same thing. So when you advance the hours, the date moves. If you advance the hours backwards, the date goes backwards. So for a lot of people, this will be their first Traveler's GMT.
Right. And again, when you explained that to me, I was like, yeah.
Need the date.
Yeah. So
it's like the highlight of the whole thing.
Right. You see, I'm always aesthetics first. You're
functional.
He's the engineer, and this is perfect. Synergy. Yeah. Well, it's down to you guys. We hope you enjoy. Let us know what you think down in the comments.
For sure.
Subscribe, MySpace, Netscape, all that good stuff.
Friendster.
Oh my God, Friendster.
Napster.
Yeah. AOL's free disc trial, all of that good stuff. Check out Mark, and we will catch you deeper in Long Island.
Yes.
For the next one. Thank you so much, man. Onwards and upwards. Ciao.
Ciao.